very cheap Cessna 182 Skyline, a cheap Grumman 1979 Cougar, and an even cheaper Beechcraft Debonair. Welcome to Buy That Plane. I am Andy Moore. We'll start off with the Cessna 182 Skyline for $110,000. Now this is very cheap for any plane. It looks very nice with a nice paint scheme. It is a Romeo Bravo Papa. The only thing that I don't particularly like about this one is the panel. It looks like somebody took a shotgun to it to make all those holes. Why is the turn and bank indicator so closely located to the VSI, but the artificial horizon, which is that black one that doesn't have the brown dirt and the blue sky, is so far away from? I'm not even sure what that is. And then the airspeed indicator is all the way over on the left. And the hilarious thing about this panel is that it's got a VOR indicator here, NDB VOR, I imagine, which would be run off some of this, maybe that one, the avionics. And you could technically fly this IFR, which would just be insane. But it's definitely all original. Pretty nice interior. The photos, as always, do make it look a bit more flattering than it probably would look like in real life, especially seeing it's in Camooweal, wherever that is, which is near the border of Northern Territory and Queensland, like super inland from Cairns, quite up north. So this plane would have some stories. However, that's why it's so cheap. And it's only got 5,000 hours. It's still got a lot of time left on the engine and a lot of time left on the prop, 717 hours on both of those. They've just done a top overhaul. So they wanted to keep it flying. It's probably a workhorse for them out on a station somewhere. And now they're trying to move it on. Interesting plane. Moving now to Aviation Trader, we've got just the cutest little plane ever, the Grumman AA5B Tiger, one of those big scary tigers. This thing is a four-seater. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is a four-seater. India Foxtrot November. Random photos of the engine bay. It does look quite good. The interior looks way better than that 182 we were just looking at. The panel looks really good. You could actually fly it IFR. It's a bit spattered all over the place. Why? Oh no, it's just a reflection of the photos. But yeah, no, it's got a normal 6-pack. Looks like it's got an engine monitor there as well. And it just looks very clean. The yokes look very nice. Maybe a bit of duct tape, but otherwise very clean looking panel. You'd rip it out. You'd rip out that old GPS unit and put in a, what is that called? The GI, the GPS GI Garmin. Garmin GPS GNI. I think. Let's keep scrolling through this as we let AI do its thing. Fresh factory rebuilt engine, power float exhaust system, electronic ignition. Oh, that's cool. Flying now with 6,000 hours. And that did not give us an answer that we're looking for. GPS. Don't worry about it. So I'll look that up after the episode. It's $110,000. Also, fantastic aircraft, especially very cheap for the money. Now we move to the bit of the surprising one from the episode. This is a Beechcraft Debonair 33, which is, yes, it is the cheaper Bonanza, to save, it is the cheaper model of that whole line, but still fantastic aircraft. And this is $80,000. Sold by a dealer as well, our good friend Brian Jones. So, as always, terrible photos, but fantastic rego. VH November Echo Whiskey. VH new on a 1968 Beechcraft Debonair. Love it. The paint looks good. There's a photo of a completely empty maintenance release sitting on a seat, which is kind of funny. Another very close-up look at the seats. Somebody loves the seats. They're that typical 60s corduroy. And, that Beechcraft twin yoke bar, which is a shame. I wish I only had the throwover yoke. That would be better. And, standard 6-pack stuff. And you'd add some normal GTNs 650, 750 to this avionics stack, so it is actually usable. And really just looks like a clean example. I will have to do a deep dive on this one for people who, for you who may not have seen this episode before, or this podcast before, or this channel before. We also do some deep dives in some aircraft that we're a bit more interested in and might be looking at buying. It's got under 5,000 hours, which is pretty impressive from a 1968 plane. Yeah, $80,000. I honestly, this probably is, as I've been leading up to it in the episodes, we're getting to the point where the older boomers are getting too old. They're losing their medical because not everyone can starve off the health problems with flying, and they have to sell their planes. And maybe they've had it for too long. Maybe they know what it's worth. This plane is probably worth $80,000. And they're just like, you know what? Let's just move it on to a good home. I don't really want to. I'm going to sell it to a dealer because I don't really want to deal with people and tire kickers. So let's just get this thing moving, and we'll give the $80,000 to my kids instead of the plane because they didn't teach their kids how to fly. Looking for a clean, reliable, and well-maintained cross-country machine, this tidy Debonair has completed an extensive 100-hourly inspection and is ready to fly, with a solid foundation and some great upgrades already in place. I'll have to look at what those updates are. It is also the perfect candidate for those looking to step up to an IO 520 engine upgrade in the future. Because it's got the smaller, it's got the smaller engine, so they're just saying it would be a good candidate for the IO 520. So highlights: dual pole yoke fitted, dual yokes, EGT gates. Wow, an EGT gate, tinted perspex. Fresh out of, this has been written by AI, and there really is not. Brian Joyce has got out his AI. He's using, I'm guessing he's using the free version of ChatGPT because that's pretty standard. The engine is run out. The engine has just, I think, gone over, has got 40 hours over, which isn't a problem. That's why it's so cheap. I got no problems with running engines on conditioning, especially if they've just passed their maintenance. Propers 1,000 hours. We've got a Garmin 342 audio panel, Kin KX 175 com nav, and ICOM A200. Oh, this is interesting. They added the MTOW, the max takeoff weight, and the empty weight. So useful load is 577 kilos. Let's do some quick maths. Total fuel is 300 litres times avgas of 0.72 equals, come on, do it for me. I know I accidentally put in a slash, but you got to do it for me. Come on. 216, so 577 take away 216 kilograms equals, and we can carry with full fuel in this plane and go for quite a while. What's that? 6 hours, just under 6 hours, probably 5 hours. 361 kilos, which 361 divided by 4 is simple maths that I'd be able to do, but I'd rather talk to you guys while AI does it for me, is 90 kilos. So it can carry 4 90-kilo blokes, which is fantastic, as long as it stays within weight and balance. Obviously, there's always that caveat on the weight and balance. VH new. I'm going to have to do a deep dive into this plane. I'm sorry. Anyway, moving on to the final plane of today's episode is a 1964 Sud Aviation GY80 Horizon aircraft. The only reason I bring it up, I've seen it many times before, is it is $45,000, and it's out of WA. Yankee Oscar Golf. Wow, what a funky little plane. I'm guessing it's French, from Sud Aviation, and it's got shoulder harnesses. That's nice. There's a bit of maintenance. That's nice. They're comparing it to a Cherokee. Just generally a pretty kind of cool plane. If you don't want not, wish not anymore with aviation, you can get into this very, very cheap. Oh yes, it is French. Le Marque Prestigious de Sud Aviation. $45,000. It would be an orphan plane. It is a Horizon, recently inspected by a lamey. Put his license somewhere there, which is odd. Maintenance lease, valid to 20 November. Yes. Sud is now known as Airbus Aerospace, which they just bought it and probably just closed it down. To be honest, they're really trying to sell this aircraft. It's a cool little plane. I'm sure it's out of Serpentine or somewhere in WA with some really funky. How do you even find this plane in the first place? Anyway, I think we'll leave it at that, but we'll have to go back to this Debonair because this thing is cool. And thank you so much for listening.